Well, hello, anybody out there who finds this recording sometime in the future. I hope you're having a good evening, morning, day, whatever time it is when you come across this. Um, Let me actually just get a few windows situated here, since right now I can't see any of the side chat or anything really. Uh, Need to solve that. Because, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the whole magic of. Uh, there we go. Now I should be able to see whatever you decide to say to me as I'm sitting here uh, just broadcasting and, well, just sitting here. So, like I said, I'm about to release the Enchanted Dagger. Uh, which will have a little bit of the so controversial and edgy material authorized by the OGL 0.A, uh, because apparently everything that's authorized under the OGL 0.A is um, edgy and racist and just too strong for Wizards of the Coast and presumably their target audience to handle. Oh, hello, ZXL Master. Thank you very much for dropping in. I appreciate it. Let's see. So, yeah, now that I'm not alone, maybe I should stop setting up the sell page for. Oh, that's interesting. Here we go. Maybe this is what they're talking. Sorry, I just noticed something about uh, the software that I think I misunderstood. And yeah, it was. So let's see. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted to do. Let's try this. Anyhow, yeah. So this is what it looks like when I'm setting up one of the cell pages for uh, the D20, the Nulo Games projects that are available through Drive Through RPG. So yeah, that's kind of in the works right now. But so we can talk about, I can talk about the Enchanted Dagger, or like I said, I can talk about uh, dragons in my role playing game if people are interested in that. Or I got a. Oh, here I don't think I showed that back, but here I'll just pull this up. So a friend of mine gave me this. This is a giant bag full of black and white comics from the mid 1980s. Most of them pretty much forgotten by the public at large, and my intent was to read them and review them, and that is still my intent. Review them over the Shades of Grey blog. But uh, things happened back in July that really threw a monkey wrench in a whole bunch of plans. And even before that, and then I was focusing mostly on the Richard Sala stuff and the Evan Dorkin stuff. And I still want to get back to Evan Dorkin. But in the meantime, I realized that Shades of Grey coming up is a bit light on reviews, to put it mildly. So I am moving some of the comics up in the review queue, and I found two that was pretty simple. That were going to be pretty simple for me to do because there are only 3 issues in the bag, and one I recognized and one I didn't. Hey Dave, welcome. We got 2 people now, yay! So we have to have 2 people to say if they're interested in this or not. or if they'd rather hear about dragons, or if they'd want to see me type stuff onto the product description page for the Enchanted Dagger book that's coming out, and work on that. Or if somebody wants to come up and actual talk to the wide world, we can see if I can figure out how to do that. I can only actually host one person at a time because I've only paid for the lowest tier of well, that's interesting. Oh, sorry. I can't I will never get used to not knowing what direction. Actually, you guys tell me. Is this my right or left hand I'm holding up? If you don't mind terribly, just so I can know what you're seeing out there. But anyhow, as I was saying, I have. Oh, I know how I can see what you're seeing out there. I can do this. Is this mirror image for you guys, or are you seeing this properly? It should say mech things. Is it mirror imaged, or are you seeing it right? So mech things is one of the comics that I'm thinking about reviewing for Shades of Grey. Read them tomorrow, write the review tomorrow evening, have the review up Saturday probably. So, okay, so you're not seeing it mirror image or anything, so you are seeing it correctly. Okay, all right, perfect. So yeah, one option of things that I was going to perhaps write about was mech things. Very, very obscure comic. I had never heard of it before my friend gave me that giant bag of comics. And it was actually, I got the giant bag, God, it's so at least a year ago now, because it was during the pandemic. I was being miserable and whiny. And so they, because I couldn't, I had to work. I was one of the people that, an essential worker, so I did not get to sit at home. But when I was at home, I couldn't go anywhere. And so I was miserable. I was reading, and so they gave me this bag of comics to entertain me, which was nice. One of them is Mech Things, which I have no idea what's it really about. It's some sort of science fiction comic. It seems to be some sort of robot fighters. So there's that I'm going to be reading. Now, one thing about Mech Things is that it's from the early 80s, but it kind of anticipates the modern comic book where you just got these walls of text. In my humble opinion, that makes this sort of a bad comic book because, frankly, the story should flow through the art. And this one, the story doesn't really flow that well through the art. I mean, the art isn't bad. The art is pretty good for sort of a undergroundish kind of comic. But so that's one option that I'm thinking about reading and then writing about. Definitely under the header of Forgotten Comics. So 3 issues of Mech Thing. Or, and this is a comic I was vaguely aware of. I knew the title at least, and I knew it was a funny animal book, Cutie Bunny. Apparently, Cutie Bunny, from what I gathered from the first couple of pages, she's a superhero. In her civilian identity, she is a corporal in the army. And then when danger calls, she will turn into Cutie Bunny and save the city from destruction. According to the initial little text piece on the inside cover, Cutie Bunny began as a brief story in a fanzine, and then the creator, I guess, became so enamored with the character that he Uh, it seems self-published. Cutie Bunny. So yeah, like I said, I was vaguely aware of it. And there's the Space Gophers, which were also in the story in the fanzine. So Space Gophers and Cutie Bunny are featured in this comic, and that is my other choice for possible review. And it's far more sort of a traditional. Oh, that's really blurry, isn't it? Can anyone see that? No. Oh, there we go. In focus. It's far more traditional comic. It's still underground in its style, but it's not quite as caption filled as the other one, but still pretty wordy by 80s standards. So if anybody, I kind of like the back covers on these. Got nice little illustrations. There's Cutie Bunny. Oh, wrong hand. Ah, which hand? This hand. No, this hand. Yeah. So there's Cutie Bunny with her nemesis from the first issue, trying to chase her down. And then here we have, like I said, the Space Gophers on the back cover of the third issue. And, well, all right. I think uh, unless you guys have an opinion, I think Cutie Bunny is going to become the series that I will be reading and reviewing this weekend because I'm a huge Star Wars fan and I find this back cover very amusing. Not so long ago, in a comic strip, far from what does that say? Yeah, far, but not nearly far enough away. There were the Gopher Wars, and then you've got the characters from the Gopher comics doing a Star Wars parody. Although I can't quite tell whether Gopher Wars. No, Gopher Wars are their own thing, their own series that's in the back. They're a backup for the Cutie Bunny comic. And while it seems that Cutie Bunny is a world of purely funny animals, or anthropomorphic characters. I'm not sure what the proper term is for them these days. Looks like Gopher Wars. You've got humans with aliens, animal aliens that look like gophers, and yeah, the same thing on the back cover. You've got the sort of a human girl there, and in a jacket and no shirt or something. I don't know. So yeah, those were in the giant bag of comics. Two I pulled out. I'm not sure which one I should do. Cutie Bunny, which is somebody's going to recognize the title of out there, I'm sure, or Mech Things. So, funny animals or science fiction, which comics should I read? Do any of you fine people out there have an opinion? Let me know in the side chat. And I'm going to try something here. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, here we go. Well, oh, I lied. I can invite up to 10 guests to come up here and hang out, I guess. I thought I could just one, but I guess I can do 10. So everybody's wearing so there we go. If anybody wants to come up and visit, you certainly can. If you want to show the world your face, there you go. What is an opinion? Well, that's where you tell me whether you are more likely to read me talking about Cutie Bunny or me talking about mech things. Frankly, I'm thinking maybe a blog post with this as a thumbnail. I mean, rubbish. As with this as the illustration, will probably get more people wanting to read it than this as an illustration. But that could just be me, being the horrible, terrible, sexist, racist, vile person that I am. I mean, just ask the good folks at Wizards of the Coast. Not only did I write for them, and I produced material that was unacceptable then and unacceptable now, although they published it. So, sorry. I don't want to put words in their mouth. The material that I wrote was wrong then, and it is wrong now. At least that's what the disclaimer on the stuff says these days. And of course, they also are the moral arbiters, or the arbiters of what is moral and what isn't. Whether you are writing for them or buying their products or just asleep in your bed, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro get to decide whether you are moral or not. So I'm a bad judge. I will admit it. I'm a terrible judge of what people will or will not be interested in. Certainly, me looking at mech things versus Cutie Bunny. Mech things, Cutie Bunny again. There they are. I will never learn how to do this. I swear to God. Cutie Bunny will be a quicker read, certainly, because it's not quite as text heavy as Mech Things, but Mech Things looks like it might be a more interesting read. So if nobody wants to give me advice, I will probably just do Mech Things first and then Cutie Bunny next. And Dave King says, oh, I forgot I can do this. Aha. There goes Zoe in the background, the chunky little cat that she is. Two wrongs don't make a right, or is that two lefts? No, I think two wrongs do not make a right, but if you have two rights, well, no, it's three rights that turn into a left, right? Yes, left. I don't know. Don't two wrongs make a right? Yeah, I suppose they do. So are you saying that both of those are wrong? I shouldn't waste my time on either one, Dave? That's not very nice. I'm sure they're brilliant comics. I'm actually probably one of those weirdos who likes a lot of the stuff from the early and mid '80s in comics. A lot of really good stuff was done during the black and white boom, if you ask me. And Meg Things and Cutie Bunny could be two of those. As I said, Cutie Bunny, maybe I saw it at some convention. Maybe I passed by it at the comic shop and found the title amusing, but for whatever reason, that is a title that I know I was vaguely aware of. Higher Math, we never got those here. They were banned. Well, actually, interestingly, I just had this conversation with at work today with my primary coworker there. She was talking about her 8-year-old son and his what is this? And the math that he's learning and how they're learning math, and how alien it is to the way that we were taught. In fact, so she's 10 years younger than me. And as we're having this conversation, another staffer came in and we quizzed her about it. She's 10 years, so she's about 20 years younger than me. And she was also taught kind of the way that we were taught arithmetic, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. But apparently now there's some system where they're not really even using numbers per se, or even groups of things. They have like circles they're drawing on a page, and then dividing up the circles and counting them into groups of 10 and doing stuff like that. The groups, there's a lot more steps than it seems like it needs. And her concern was that her son didn't recognize certain numbers when they were written down very clearly. So I don't know whether the way they're teaching math is good or bad or just different, and we're not understanding it because we're old. But the 50-something guy, the 40-something lady, and the 30-something lady, all of us were kind of scratching our head at the way this was done, and it just seemed unnecessarily complex. So, and I was, we were talking about it because we were all trying to, well, myself and my coworker were trying to pull ourselves back so we get a sort of a big picture of where it might be headed, but nothing was really coming up. And I'm way off topic, but as I said, if nobody has an opinion, I shall be reading Mech Things tomorrow. And does anyone want to hear about how dragons are supposed to be portrayed in a role-playing game setting, or any other subjects or topics that you want to just watch me ramble about, or that you want to talk about, or you can even come up here and tell the world, because this interestingly though, I once again tried to stream on Facebook, and I don't think that it was successful. Or if it was, I'm just not seeing it. Let me double check that. And when I tried it earlier, it was a complete foobar. I ended up streaming on Stan's page or doing something weird. Not even quite sure what I did. But it looks like, once again, that there is no Facebook. Looks like there's no Facebook feed. So there's something I'm not getting about the way this program works. Or there's some setting on Facebook I need to fix. But at least I'm not, someone isn't over there thinking I'm just ignoring them because I'm a jackass. I am a jackass, but I try not to ignore people, especially not when I am the one setting things up. Yeah, that's part of the problem with my channel. I've got bifurcated audience. I don't know who likes what or what we should talk about, but let's see. Well, I could look in the bags if there's any other weird comics to pull out. No. Only PvP is on the top, so I have to go digging for something. But yeah, I guess if we can talk about dragons, because I'm sure dragons is one of those things that Wizards of the Coast is claiming as their intellectual property, just like they are trying to claim elves and dwarves as their property, their intellectual property. Utter bullshit, but they're doing it. So, although I use dragons when I'm running, keep playing. Okay, let's see what he's saying. Dave King is saying, keep playing. You will either figure it out or permanently ban us. Yeah. I that is what is that called? A Hobson's choice? Hobbs choice? Something like that. Um, well, anyhow, so dragons. Even though I use dragons in a setting that was created by TSR, using a rule set that was published by TSR. Uh oh. Oh yeah, here it is. I must have pulled this out the other day and held it up. This right here. Um, you know what? I don't care what. Let's see. Can I hide that? Yes. I don't really care what the little minions at Wizards of the Coast are saying. I don't care what the people who a few years ago decided to point out to me that I am not welcome among the fans of role playing games, that I was never a true fan of role playing games. Um, this this right here, this is the best edition of D&D that has been published, and it will probably remain the best edition of D&D that's been published, because the way Wizards is behaving, I can only assume that the new edition that is being designed or finalized right now is a complete pile of shit. Because if it wasn't a complete pile of shit, they wouldn't feel the need to shut down everything else that has been created through the Open Gaming License. But that said, I use this rule set when I run D&D. Um, I use the maps of a world that TSR also published, and ultimately it was started as the known world and then became known as Mystara. I love that setting. It's a wide open setting. You can pretty much. Oh, there's Zoe again. Oh, over there somewhere. You can pretty much do whatever fancy stuff you want in it. It's so wide open and so well structured. But in the many, many years I've used the setting, there are things that I've made different in it, because I really don't care about canon when it comes to role playing games. And I've developed my own nations and cultures and everything else. And dragons are one of the things that I've changed quite a bit. Uh, for example, well, I guess history of the universe. In the beginning there was chaos, and then a single all powerful God decided to make order out of that chaos. And as a result, he created another set of gods. It's been a long time since I've looked at these notes, but I think there were seven originally. Seven deities, maybe it was eight or nine. Actually, I think it was nine. Um, and those nine are the gods of the world. Because there's the over god who made everything, and then there's the gods who are the gods of the setting of the world. And as the world and creation was being made, the major god created dragons as the uh, first races inhabiting the world, and it was their world. And a side effect of the creation of the world, and just sort of the underlying mechanics of everything, and sort of as an accidental byproduct, you ended up with demons and devils and these extraplanar creatures that wanted the world. I mean, they felt neglected and rejected, because they kind of were, because they weren't an intentional thing. It's just kind of an accidental thing. And so the demons and the dragons, they are eternal foes. They are trying to destroy each other. And the demons are trying to conquer the world because they want it, and they want to destroy the dragons in the process. So in the beginning, there were just the gods and the dragons. And the dragons came in multiple races, as beings tend to do. You had the red dragons, you had the black dragons, you had the gold dragons, the silver dragons, the blue dragons, and the green dragons, uh, brown dragons, and copper dragons. And among the, actually, I forgot, in addition to the 9 gods that were just for there to run the world, there was also 3 gods of the dragons. Sort of an over master god, kind of the reflection of the creator of the universe. Multi-headed dragon, uh, sort of the kind of a little bit like, I guess, Takhisis in the Dragonlance setting, or Tiamat, or whatever. Except this one only has 3 heads, um, one for each alignment, basically. And in the original D&D game, there was only creative, neutral, creative, chaotic, neutral, and lawful. Um, the good evil axis was not something that was strictly imposed upon creature types. And that also comes back around to how I view dragons and how I presented them in my setting. Uh, whereas in the D&D, typical D&D world, the one that Wizards of the Coast wants to claim is their property. It's theirs. Damn you filthy gamers. Don't touch our stuff. Anyhow, the dragons, as I conceived of them in my setting and have for since the late 80s, early 80s, since a very long time. Um, Sorry, back in the typical D&D dragon setup, you've got the chromatic dragons, the red, blue, black, green, and then you've got the metallic dragons, gold, silver, um, bronze, copper, what have you. Uh, and they are at odds because the metallic dragons are good and the chromatic dragons are evil. Um, and so yeah, one one wants to kill people and hoard treasure, and the other one wants to help people and hoard treasure, or maybe share treasure. I don't know. Um, and if anyone out there is still awake and wants to comment or say something, you're more than welcome to. But I will keep lecturing otherwise. The But in my concept of dragons, um, the dragons, well, they're dragons. They are a race. They cooperate on some things. They are opposed on some things. They do recognize, though, that they each have a place in creation that uh, they are sort of responsible for, because they they don't exactly predate the gods. Well, depending on which dragon you ask, some dragons will tell you that they predate the gods. Others will say that they're created at the same time, but they view themselves as equals to the gods, and therefore they view themselves as having specific roles. Certain dragon types, at least, the gold dragons, for example, um, they view themselves as the uh, stewards of, well, dragonkind in general, law and order specifically, and the continuation of civilization and history, and just keeping the world going, keeping everything nice and peaceful and on an even keel. Uh, and they sort of stand apart from the rest of dragons because of that. They will take leadership, and that's pretty standard the way gold dragons are presented in a lot of D&D. The gold dragons are the wise leaders, and they fill that role as well in this game. They want peace, they want prosperity. Well, all the dragons really want peace and prosperity, uh, especially when the gods started creating lesser races, as the dragons call them, or they started evolving, depending on who you ask in the world. Did the lesser races evolve, or were they created by gods? Um, when they started showing up, um, the dragons had various reactions to them. The gold dragons wanted to control them and shepherd them, where the blue and silver dragons, and the blue and silver dragons are, in my perception of the dragons, they are two sides of the same coin. They have very similar interests, um, and those interests are very tightly tied to the lesser races. Uh, the silver dragons are fascinated by the lesser races, want to help and shepherd them, and work with gold dragons in that respect. The silver dragons also just like hanging out with humans and dwarves and elves and um, other they just like studying them, like hanging out with them. The blue dragons also like being around the lesser races, but they view them more as tools and means to an end. They will uh, take society under its wing. A blue dragon will take a village under its wing, um, if it's trying to accomplish something. It will, if it want those humans over there on that mountain, I want that mountain. They're being a pain in my ass. I'm gonna help this community. I'm gonna manipulate this community. We're gonna send them to war. They're gonna clear the mountain for me. So I have more important things to do. I'll let the humans go take care of it. The blue and silver dragons, even though like the blue dragons, I'm rambling. I mean, I really should have grabbed my notes because I left out a very important part about the blue dragons, at least. But we'll get back to that. So they enjoy lesser races. They want to share. Both blues and silvers want to share knowledge. We want to preserve the knowledge that these lesser races, the histories and the inventions that they make and the items they create, they want to. Um, oh, hey, Welsh News Network. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, I am just right now rambling about dragons in role playing games. Because none of these fine gentlemen wanted to tell me which comics I should be reviewing this weekend. Um, I dropped in on your on your what I could drop in on your stream earlier today. Didn't really get enough to get really understand the context of the conversations, but I did find every everybody was talking about broken ribs every time I seem to pop in. Um, and Becca is here too. Well, good morning, guys. Hello, hello. Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, here, let me do that since I know how to do it now. Uh, yeah, I guess the Welsh do love dragons. And I was sort of talking about, since in my little corner of the universe, there's a bunch of drama going on about a company called Wizards of the Coast that is screwing around with some people's livelihood and generally being corporate buttheads. And one of the things that they are trying to claim as proprietary, as far as I can tell, as proprietary to their quote IP is dragons, which is ludicrous. And since I have written lots of role playing game stuff, and it's been a hobby of mine from years back, and to the present day, I'm just talking about how dragons and the game world that I've set up are different than the dragons that are owned by our corporate overlords that um, shall not be used unless they expressly allow it, and you are pure of heart and of soul and not, yeah, so long as you meet their high moral standards. I don't know, but that is a rant. I just wanted to, that some of the other people here have heard. You guys haven't heard it, so that's the context. And I was talking about blue and silver dragons, which in my setup um, are friendly toward human cultures and human civilizations and what they call the lesser races. Although the silver dragons will encourage them to be peaceful and studious, the blue dragons are far more interested in, uh, well, teaching them aggression, seeing how destructive they can make them, and also generally using them for experiments. In my world, the blue dragons are basically the mad scientists of the dragon set. Uh, they love physics. They love understanding how things work, why things work, and they will go to all sorts of lengths to figure out the hows and the whys of the universe and the multiverse, and also they are hell bent on getting rid of the demon kind. So another reason why they are the sort of militarists of the dragon set, and they're lawful, as are the silver dragons, and they will silver and blue dragons will cooperate because they have the shared interest of humans, of the lesser of cultures of the lesser races. So again, unlike the standard game dragons, the silver and the blue will are likely to cooperate on certain things. Um, yeah. Oh, Welsh News Network, big company screwing the little guy. Yeah, and frankly, all in my opinion at least, screwing their fans as well. Oh yeah, and by me saying bad things about Wizards of the Coast, I think that means that I will never be able to publish anything under their Open Gaming License 1.2, which is just absolutely heartbreaking to me. I'm trying to I'm trying my best to carry on, but I who knows if I will be able to keep it together. Well, anyhow, back to Fantasy Dragons. Oh, and like I said, if anybody wants to, have the, show their face to the world, let me do this again, just because I figured out how to do it. See the dragon character. Let's see. Um, Probably closer to Eastern mythology, I would think. Um, since, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I spent more time just fantasizing about my own dragons and doing real research. But aren't European dragons mostly just basically animals? Uh, might be, sometimes a little bit demonic, but I seem to recall that they aren't really all that scheming and clever. I'm talking about real, you know, real myths, old stories. Um, no, I think, yeah, Welsh, yeah. Come on, my channel with my 8 viewers per stream. Yeah, actually, I think this probably would count against him more than anything else. So I do appreciate you guys coming by. Are you guys? You guys aren't on right now, are you? No, you can't be. Well, I guess you could be, but um, what is it over there? What, 11? No, it's afternoon over there. I don't know. I forget. It's I've been back in the States for uh, way too long at this point. I forget how the time zones work. Been on the West Coast for 20 years now, 25 years. Um, so yeah, Pacific time. That's all I know now. But so you got the gold and the. Actually, I know that the gold dragons I view, and even in the TSR material or Wizards material, the gold dragons are sort of like the Oriental dragons or the Eastern dragons. I think they're even in artwork portrayed like uh, a Chinese dragon in the sense that it's a snake-like creature without wings and um, uh, proboscis on its face and things like that. Um, but uh, one thing about all the dragons in my setting, and this plays really in with the silvers and the blues, is that every dragon has the ability to morph into pretty much any form it wants to. Oh my, look at that! And we have someone that's coming to visit, and I'm going to add him in. There we go. Uh-oh.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, hey, I'm doing okay. I am brand new to this, if that's not obvious. Just a few months ago, I even realized I had a YouTube channel. So, uh, let's see. How do I? Ah, there we go. I'm trying to do this. There. Um, oh, what happened now? Oh, I brought up another one about the unspeakable one. Oh,
Chile.
Chilito. Okay. All right. Yeah. You shall not be mentioned. Um, yeah. So I just last week started playing with this streaming software, and so you are the second person to actually be up here on stage with me. So, um,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. So our since you are Welsh, you must be a dragon expert, right? Um,
A little bit.
so am I remembering correctly? Are dragons basically just are they wild beasts in mythology, or am I misremembering that? As far as European dragons go.
For most of Europe, you're right. Wales, it's slightly different. Like most things, we're just odd.
Okay, so they are so they're more the sort of fantasy type dragons, where
Yeah.
they're old and they're wise and they like hoarding everything valuable.
Yes, for most of Europe, that's how it is. For us, they're more, they represent the heart and soul of the people.
Okay. Um, are they things people can interact with, or are they more likely to eat you if you?
Yes.
Let's see. How
Oh
does this?
no, the red dragon never eats any Welsh person. It only eats the enemies of the Welsh people.
Ah, okay. Oh, well, actually, then I think my red dragons are like Welsh red dragons. Then, in the when I say my, I mean my little game setting. Because if you always play, if you know D&D, I don't know if you do. Are you a big geek or not?
I used to be. These days, don't have as much time as I would like to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it used to be my job. Now it's just something I waste time on. Um, but the red dragons in my own setting, in standard D&D, red dragons, they are engines of destruction. They just break everything, burn everything. They're the ultimate destroyers. And in in the way I have red dragons set up, they say, okay, these are our mountains, these are our territories, and these are our people that live in these mountains. And yeah, you come in there, they will lay waste to anyone that they feel is invading their territory, but they will protect the people live in there. Is that sort of the Welsh dragon, or
Yeah, that's very, very similar. It's
okay?
quite amazing how similar that is, actually.
I probably read it years and years ago and accidentally just incorporated it because as I was
Well,
saying,
we don't mind.
uh, well, it's something that one of the things that made me grumpy with the again, I used to view myself as part of the gaming community, just because I've been playing it for so many years, and I, designed a whole bunch of stuff, and then suddenly the winds changed, and it just felt very unfriendly. And one of the winds that changed was, and I don't know what was your what would your take be on the whole concept of cultural appropriation? Always bad?
Uh, a lot of it is okay. I'm going to get in trouble here, but a lot of it is stupid, ignorant people who don't actually understand the roots of things.
Yes. Okay.
You
You're
have
not.
this whole thing. We've had it recently with, people having dreads.
Yeah.
We had to explain to a whole load of people, no, it's actually called the Danish plait because the Vikings used to have this. They don't
Yeah.
come much whiter than the Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe someone come along and viewer will be upset, but you're not going to get in trouble here because what you said is basically pretty much what I've kind of felt, and that became a big deal in a few years back in the gaming community. That cultural appropriation, it's bad, it's bad. Sharing fantasy, sharing mythology, sharing all of that's not, in my opinion, not cultural appropriation. Um, so me
Also,
accidentally,
where do you draw the line? Okay, cultural appropriation. Okay, fine. Does that mean all the Hobbit films should be banned because they were made in New Zealand with a story that comes from the middle of England?
yeah, no, that's exactly it. And there is there's a I came across a YouTube video, Chinese lady who plays uh, rock songs on traditional Chinese string instruments. I mean, should she be banned for doing that? Because that's cultural appropriation. She did not. She did not. Crazy Train was written by, I think, an Englishman, right? Ozzy
I'm not
Osbourne.
sure. Yes, Ozzy Osbourne is. Yeah, he's from
Yeah,
Birmingham.
yeah, yeah. So, and here she is performing it on Chinese instruments. That's cultural appropriation. That's bad. Uh, Actually, it's not. It's very interesting to watch her do it. But if people were to be as extreme as a lot of people are, or as you put it, dumb, we wouldn't have things like that. So that's the same thing.
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, here in Wales, we have what's called the International Eisteddfod, which is a huge multi-nation celebration of culture, identity, and song. Because we love song, we love music. It's in us from the day we're born. They literally call the country the land of song. So, but So we get exposed to a lot of outside cultures, and quite often they will sing Welsh songs, but in their own native language. We don't complain about it. We think this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess there are times where people can abuse it, but that's not what they're talking about when they're upset about cultural appropriation. It would be, well, like the Red Dragon, me taking the whale concept of the Red Dragon, whether intentional or not. Um, and so, hey, I'm glad that someone agrees with me, because yeah, I kind of walked away from the whole game community for a few years there because I just could not understand who I thought were quote my people anymore.
Well,
Um,
to me, if you use somebody else's culture, heritage, whatever it is, but you use it with respect, then there's nothing wrong with that. Where it becomes an issue is where you treat it like trash, and then
yeah,
that is an issue. But that's not about the appropriation, that's about the respect.
yep, yep, I agree. Um, and I guess the wow, this is kind of turning into more interesting conversation than me just babbling, and now I'm actually trying to think, and it's late. Well, it is here. What is the
It's
time?
very early here.
What is the time?
It's 20 to 9 in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's quarter to one or something like that. 20 to 1 here. Yeah, a.m. So 0100 hours almost. Um, but again, in the in the fantasy settings, you can use trappings from cultures, and you can use them badly and insultingly, or use them well, like you pointed out. But actually, it's for. I mean, excuse me. This is a professional level broadcast. Welcome to the show. Picking my nose on air. um, for example, uh, oh, all right. I just realized it's been too long since I've looked at it, but I came across some people discussing uh, an old book called Oriental Adventures. All right, they use the term Oriental. That okay. That even in the '70s, that had a negative connotation to it. But the inside the covers of that particular game book, they had a fantasy Asia, which was a just a mishmash of cultural elements from China, Japan, Korea, India, just all throughout Asia. Mostly the it was a game where you would basically you were playing ninjas and kung fu masters and stuff. So it was a fantasy setting. It was not intended to be anything that reflected reality, and that's one of the ones that now is being held up as cultural appropriation and bad. And that's just not how things work. I mean, if that's going to be the case, you could never write anything. I mean, all you would, for example, all you would be able to do would, write about Welsh people.
Yeah.
And
And also, you've got to be careful looking from 2023 to something that was made in the 70s.
yep. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, even even more something that just to talk about me because it's all about me. uh,
Yeah, why
one
not?
one of
We
the
all
things.
have egos because we have a bit of an ego.
Yeah, who, me? Oh yes, yes. That's why the hat is here, because otherwise the head goes. Um,
I know the feeling. That's why mine's so short and blue, because if I let it grow, it just, yeah.
the the one of the things I've done is published anthologies of some of the more obscure Robert E. Howard stories, because I personally think if you if you're gonna look at Robert E. Howard, his more obscure stuff is better than Conan, better than any of his more famous stories. Um, and a lot of those stories were historical fiction, um,
Yeah.
and they appeared in a magazine called Oriental Adventures. And they dealt with Mongols and the Mongol invasion of the Middle East and things like that. Some of his historical fictions. So when I was putting these together, I was going, "Gosh, do I just use that title or not?" And you know, three. It ended up being a total of 3 volumes, and they've sold okay for me. So, and no protests yet. So maybe there's a line there. Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't belong in the gaming community because again, you're talking Robert E. Howard, 1932, and 1929 to
Yeah, but
1932.
the gaming community, science fiction writers, all of that kind of industry has always been a place where we could explore things that we're too uncomfortable to explore in real life through a fantasy setting. I mean, the most famous of them would be Star Trek. With it was basically a cowboys story in space. The good guys always won. There was always a strong moral to the story, and they dealt with things that people weren't ready to deal with in real life just yet.
Yeah. Well, even the setup of the bridge crew,
Yeah,
um, and
the first interracial kiss on television, and that having it forced meant they could get it through the censor, so it wasn't an issue. But it started slowly to change people's views on things.
yeah, and just from my vantage point, it seems like that is being leached out of science fiction and fantasy, at least in the recent
Yes.
couple of decades.
Everything now has to be so dark, so moody. Everyone has to have vulnerabilities. No one can be the white knight showing us how we should be, not how we are.
Yeah,
We seem to have taken the heroes and tried to lower them to our level instead of bringing us up to their level, which is what it used to be.
yep, yep, yeah. All I can do is agree because hey, I need to go to Wales clearly because you people are far more level headed than what we have over here.
It partly it comes from being a minority that gets ignored.
Oh yeah, yep.
We're
Okay,
in
so
a unique place. We're a very old race, far older than the English, but because we happen to be white and the only thing that's noticeably different of us is we have our own language, we
yeah,
get ignored.
yeah, you and the Irish, but mostly
Yeah.
you, I guess. I think, right?
Yeah,
Um,
we're a much smaller population. There's only about 3 million of us.
yeah, yeah. And actually, speaking of now, I'm trying to reach back my memory. Speaking of Howard, though, I think no. I was going to say I thought his picks were based on the Welsh, but no, they're not. Never mind. But his Cormac Mac art character, I think, was Welsh. For what's that's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Got those in a. They're one of those his historical fictions that I was talking about. Um, but I see here that Becca had a comment. No one race has a monopoly on a look. Yeah, that goes back to your comment about the Vikings and their hairstyle and that. Yeah, and those who insinuate something shouldn't be used because it doesn't belong is disrespectful and ignorant. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, actually, I'd forgotten about the whole Viking, the the, the until you brought it up. That's which I
It's
should be embarrassed about because half my family is Danish, and I lived in Denmark for almost a decade. So, but
lovely
you,
place.
oh yeah,
Love Copenhagen. It has to be one of the nicest capital cities on the world, in the world.
hmm yeah, it's what I found so interesting about Copenhagen. The few times we were over there is immaculate. I mean, we even went
Yeah.
to I forget the name of the place. It's the old army base that's, at least back in the 80s, it was its own little enclave. And,
Oh, yeah. That's going to bug me.
okay, let me see.
Oh,
The
come
Google
on. I've
machine.
only been there like 12 times.
Uh-oh, there goes my phone. At 1 in the morning. What the heck? Let's see. So, once again, riveting YouTubing. I'm looking up what that place is called. Castania. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yep. It's actually Freetown, Castania, it's called. What's going on there these days? I haven't been there since the 80s.
Last
70s,
time I was there in the 90s.
2000s. Okay, I was going to say that Copenhagen was always very nice and clean, and the sort of benchmark I ended up with while being over there was we were in London during a big municipal strike, and the trash had been picked up for weeks. And then a few months later, we were in Paris, and Paris was like London during the garbage strike. Even though everything was functioning and everything should be, you would think would be clean and neat and what have you. But Copenhagen, I don't remember. I remember that as being a very clean town, even in Christiania.
Yeah, it was. It was
But
lovely.
apparently in the 2000s, you had drug gangs taking over the place, and we got some.
Oh, dear.
Okay, interesting. All right, well,
That's a shame.
yeah, yeah. I guess it was an experiment didn't quite work out. They had some mass arrests too. It sounds like. Ooh, hand grenade was thrown into a crowd at Nemoland. Ooh, okay. Well, world changed. Gosh.
Yeah, sadly not for the better.
Oh, Becca's going to Wales.
Mm-hmm.
Put me in your suitcase.
Cheers.
Yeah, we never made it over there. Actually, I lived in London. Well, was in London on and off, but we never really got outside of the sort of that general area, which was kind of a shame.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking, early 80s?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the roads were god awful. It'd have taken you the best part of a day to get up here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got out to the Stoke Poges, little place just outside of London. That was about as far as we got away from the town center. Let's see, Norway.
If we were doing cultural appropriation, though, wouldn't there be a huge problem with Shakespeare with the amount of influence he's had on literature?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing that a lot of people seem to ignore. They look at it just in one direction. Um, but I think it probably is born from the notion that Western civilization is such an oppressive force, and that since we're the oppressors, anything we take is bad, but anything that is taken by other cultures is okay. I guess that's the logic.
But you can see that doesn't actually work in reality. Recently, I mean, if you take the film The Black Panther, look how much interest and conversation that sparked about Africa because of that one film.
Mm-hmm.
A subject before the film no one was interested in talking about. Frankly, I'm not sure if a lot of the world would have noticed if Africa had sunk into the ocean or not. After that film, people took an interest.
Yeah, actually.
So you can use it as a teachable moment. again, it all comes to that respect and how you use it. It's not the act itself. There's nothing wrong with it. It's how you use that act.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention that, hadn't really struck me, but yeah, Africa kind of had fallen off the map when I was again a kid. We constantly hearing about Africa and the starving people and everything else, and that's
You had
kind
the
of
starving people. You had the AIDS epidemic where people were trying to help, and then it just kind of went away.
yep, yeah, yeah. Everything got fixed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
the next big story came along and pushed it out the headlines, and people forgot.
yeah. Every so often you'd hear about the some terrorism here and there, or maybe not even that. Maybe that was just the circles I moved in that would come up. But well, it's in the news today about the ISIS people that got knocked off.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, well, this turned into be a far more interesting little live stream than I anticipated. So thank you for dropping by.
Well,
Um,
you're welcome. We noticed we were just finishing off doing our research for Friday, and then noticed you were on, so we're like, well, we'll pop in there.
cool, I appreciate it. Yeah, I actually need to start wrapping it up a bit because I got an early morning tomorrow, which I hate mornings. If I can sleep till 10 a.m., 11 a.m., I'm a happy person.
That's usually about the time we're wrapping up.
Yeah,
I'm sure, as you can appreciate, with doing the stories the way we do them, there's a lot of fact checking and checking of sources and phone calls and all the rest of it that go into it.
yeah.
So
That
all that has to be done behind the scenes before we can even start the show.
that's actually what got me about Mr. DeCastro when he decided to go after you guys. Again, I hadn't heard of you until he did that, and I'm glad he did.
Mm.
Uh, but he he said he hadn't watched your channel, and I think he's probably telling the truth for once in his life because if he had watched
No,
your
he's
channel,
lying.
oh, he is okay.
Yeah, about 7 days before he made that statement, he copyright struck us.
Oh, okay. All right. So not even that is the truth. Because I was going to say that if he had watched your channel, he would have seen that you talk about a hell of a lot more than him. You cover a lot of topics on those during the how you do 5 6 hours. Like I said in my post, I'll never know. That's stamina. Even if you have a panel there, my God. But you cover all kinds of topics. You discuss all kinds of issues, and
Yeah,
you
we don't
what
consider anything off limits.
right. And what is it some people like to say? You have the receipts. I mean, you
Yeah,
can cite sources on the stuff you talk about. So
it's a lot of crash courses in subjects that I never thought I would be learning.
but
Because
yeah,
the way it works is there's only Becca and myself who knows what's going to happen. The other two panel members don't know what's coming up or what we're going to say because they're not involved in doing the research. So you get more of an organic conversation because they don't know what we've got.
okay, all right. Well, that's good. I mean, that good in the sense that it keeps it natural and keeps it nice, keeps it flowing. Yeah,
Yeah, the end result though is that's what tends to make it last 5 hours plus. It's right, we've
because
been
you're
celebrating that somehow last night we managed only 2.5 hours.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
one
like,
we got.
okay, now what do we do?
Is that the one we were talking about? Broken ribs, or is that the more?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you're familiar with Delete Law's clips.
Yes, yes. Yeah, okay. So
Oh,
that is the one I'm thinking about, where you were covering
yeah,
some of his e-begging stints.
yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just as much of a con man as Castro is, we've managed to find the receipts and went, oh yeah, fine, here you go, look at this.
Yep. Yeah, I well, much like the other one the other day. Unfortunately, you guys are broadcasting. I'm at work, so I tune in when I can, and then I come back and try to catch up later. But I like
Yeah.
you guys. I like your program.
But if there's ever any bits you want to reference or show the clips from, have at it. We don't do the whole copyright strike thing. We couldn't care less. And it's like, nah, it's out there in the public. Use it.
Okay. Oh, I certainly will, and I will. Well, I credit. Even when I'm dumping on Chili, I credit his channel. I link to his channel. So I certainly will.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
more than welcome. And you'll have to come up sometime. When you're not working and we're doing one, you'll have to come up because I would very much enjoy a conversation with you about comic books.
oh, okay. I can talk about. That I can talk about to the point where the rest of your panelists will be dying. Uh, but or I'll kill you all.
Yeah,
No, I'm
they
joking.
don't pay the bills, so yeah.
But yeah, so you do every day, or how often do you do your streams?
Typically we do 5 out of 7.
Okay.
Like
Good.
we're not doing this evening, for instance. We've got tonight off, so it's like, yeah, we're not doing it.
Okay. And it's Friday for you over there now. You're ahead of us or behind us? I'm
It's Thursday morning.
Thursday.
No, yeah, Friday morning. Sorry,
Okay, it's
I've
Friday
lost
morning.
the day.
Okay. Yeah, my weekends are Friday, Saturday. Those are where I don't have any place I have to be, or people that make me do stuff that I don't necessarily want to do. Um, so yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out. And yeah, maybe yeah, if we can coordinate, certainly, or if I just can show up and hijack
Yeah,
your thing.
yeah. By all means, by all means. We try and do serious stories, but also try and keep it light-hearted and do daft things and have little daft. A friend of ours makes these little shorts, which basically take the pee out of ourselves, and we're forever having them made and playing them and just things. Partly, I think, to just remind us of don't take this seriously.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually when I first came across Mr. DeCastro. I thought actually he was doing a bit. It off. He can't be serious about what he's doing. And then the whole lawsuit thing started, and I went, "Oh my gosh, he is serious about what he's doing."
Which one of his lawsuits?
Oh, well, when you went after the Masshole report,
That one, yeah,
that's
the
when I
ongoing saga.
yeah, and that's when he became something I cared about because I believe in freedom of the free flow of ideas. I think more
Yeah,
conversation is better than less conversation. Um,
well, it
and that,
keeps us all safer.
yeah, yeah, exactly. If we know where everyone is coming from, if we can stomp or not, okay, bad choice of words, but bad ideas get defeated because they get discussed, they get talked about, and good ideas
Yeah,
come to the surface because they get talked about. And so he shouldn't be shutting shouldn't be you should not be shutting people down. But I should shut myself down at this point because, like I said, I'm going to have to be getting up way too early tomorrow. And what is this? Looking at Supreme Court cards today, looks like I am a journalist. Oh, I need to catch up with some news apparently because that
yeah.
uh,
De Castro and his like have managed to achieve the exact opposite of what they wanted and are actually going to curtail everyone's First Amendment rights.
uh, okay. Part of me was
The
afraid.
inevitable pushback.
Oh, geez. Part of me was afraid that was coming. Again, like two lifetimes ago, was a I was a journalist. I mean, I so whenever these people are saying, "I'm working on a story," I'm taking footage for a story, and the person asks, "So who do you work for? What is your story? Can I have a business card?" No, I don't answer questions. No journalist behaves
Uh,
like that. No one.
no, many moons ago, I for a short period worked for CBS, and part of what I did was the convention circuits, doing the radio broadcasts from there, doing all the technical setup and all the rest of it. and occasionally they'd use me as a journalist to talk to fans, to talk to some of the actors. Yeah, if I'd have behaved like that, they'd have fired my ass within about 6 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you also just don't want to behave like that because the person that you're talking to today could be a source tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. It's having as many connections and getting as much and much sources as you can, no matter what your field is. I mean, I was just covering arts and entertainment and feature stuff, but I would still
yeah.
never. I would never be rude to people. I would never just refuse to talk to them, even if they were, getting in my way. I would at least be polite. And so I'm afraid. Yeah, I was afraid that this
You have to.
would be coming.
I mean, one of the things that's led to us getting so many stories and sources is the fact that when sources have asked us to remain anonymous, is we've gone, yeah, all right, as long as we can verify your data, we don't need your name. We ain't going to put that out there, and we won't put anything that'll identify you. And people can either believe us or not. That's their choice. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, of course, has led to more sources and more sources coming forward because they're like, hang on, these guys won't sell us out.
Yeah. See, and that's exactly it. You once people realize that you are trustworthy, you're respectful, and you're going to present whatever they're bringing you in a fair light and accurately, then you get more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson these first minute auditors need to learn. But it looks like it's too
Yes.
late.
I mean, I think one of the things Chili's done is today he's done is all this information he's tried to put out about Chad Goo, the police officer from Ironton, saying he's been fired for beating up his wife and sexually assaulting somebody and all this. The guy's on vacation with his wife.
See, that's something else that he apparently keeps doing again and again and again. Somebody sends him an email or calls him on the phone or something, and he just runs with it. He believes it. It's
Yeah.
like uh, Ironton Auditor, I think they call him.
Oh,
Uh,
Terry. Yeah, he's a great guy.
yeah. He David Kane made sort of a joke video that he got arrested by the cops, and okay, you've seen it, yeah. And Chili
That
just
was the greatest troll of all time.
yeah. He was, he celebrated it and then tried to walk it back later, and it just was just hilarious because he was such an idiot. He didn't even, if he had picked up the phone, called the supposed sheriff's department where this arrest happened, the reaction there would have been, "What? Who? No, there's nobody like that in our custody. I don't know what you're talking about." But no, he
I
never
can't
checked.
believe they got that police officer though to go along with them to do the whole skit because it's a genuine police car and police officer.
Yeah. Uh, yeah,
Ooh, that's really worrying, David King. I'm just noticing David King's follow up to what he's just said. It's actually more worrying than I thought it was.
what's this? I I didn't catch the first part of that. What did you say? David King.
David King's follow up to what you've got up on the screen is actually more worrying than I thought it was.
Oh, hang on, let me see. Yeah, another thing I'm not very good at is keeping an eye on the chat. Again, big head, hat keeping it in place. This is
You
a big,
get used to it.
yeah. This is a big case. Confidentiality of sources was insisted upon by news networks. Oh, okay. Wow. All right, I need to catch up on whatever this is. Clearly.
Yeah, I do on that one. I'm not familiar with it, but that is worrying because that's how we know governments are not keeping big secrets from us, is because the confidentiality of sources. They can go to the press and say, hey, look, these guys are up to some shady shit over here. You ought to pay attention to this.
Yep.
If you take that away, no one's going to go to the press and say, look at this.
Yeah, and oh my, I now part of me is I'm hoping this is not going back to the CNN's investigative unit from a few years ago where they basically were making stuff up. At least that
Yeah.
was. I got to catch up on this. Uh, that's what I get for instead of. Well, I'm blessed with a job where things are either uh, super busy or you're in hurry up and wait mode. And typically in hurry up and wait mode, I'm either watching Welsh News Network um, or uh, court programs, YouTube streamed court shows, or I'm just reading the news. I should have been reading the news today rather than discussing my partner's her kids' math classes. Wait,
Oh, the math classes are far more important.
uh, well, yeah, given the conversation we had, it actually was. Uh, this started in Pierce County. I wonder who lives near there. Well, that would be me. Uh, okay,
Okay, what have you done?
I don't
Come on,
know.
out with it.
I'm starting to get a little nervous. In fact, hmm. And here I've been trying so hard to keep my nose clean. Even to the point where I yeah. If anyone is good, well, here's a blatant plug. Let me just check something here. Just give me one moment. What is the date? The 25th. If anyone is in Kent, Washington on the 25th of February, be sure to swing by Page Turner Books because I will be there with some actually people you will recognize if you're into fantasy and science fiction, like Jeff Grubb and certain other more famous people. But I got in people that were going to that. They said, "Hey, let's get Miller there too because we know him from years ago and he's fun to hang out with. Let's get him there." So I agreed to go, but I then went, I should probably check with my employers since a couple of years back, other staffers went to some events and there was a kind of a dust up because of it. And two different managers told me two different things. One says, don't worry about it. And the other one says, no, you got to write a memo and we got to get it cleared before you go to this public event. Um, and then I finally got word today from my boss's boss, and it basically boiled down to why are you asking? I mean, this has nothing to do with us. Go, go. And he said, I'm glad to hear that your peers think that you are worth inviting to this kind of thing. Even though I was telling, look, this used to be my job. Now I'm working for you guys, but I'm still doing this as a sideline. Every year I get permission to do things like this and continue to write games and things. But I haven't done any public appearances for a long time, so I thought I'd ask permission. But I just found his response funny. That why are you even asking? Go.
That's
Um,
good. Didn't it? Hey, there's nothing wrong with a shameless plug.
yeah,
Good.
but now that
Mind you, you're risking it. This is YouTube. God knows what's going to turn up to greet you, but you know.
yeah, oh, it's like I've told a couple other people that I'm sort of going to be this is going way back, but I can't think of anybody else. I'm going to be the Ed McMahon to the other people that are there. I'm just sort of the sidekick that's just going to be there to laugh at the jokes. But
Yeah, but without the Ed McMahon, the show doesn't work.
yeah, yeah. But it's some a couple people I haven't seen in a few years. We get to hang out with them, so it's going to be fun. And but yeah, it's interesting that it started in Pierce County because it literally is south. It's the county south of where I live. So I will
Yeah.
have definitely to look up on this. Although another person who lives in this area is another one of everyone's favorite auditors, Glenn Serio.
Oh dear God, you have my sympathy.
Yeah, he. So maybe it's Glenn Serio that's the root of this. Uh,
No, I
hmm.
don't think. No,
Nothing.
it
No,
can't
that.
be.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm saying that he's too big of a clown. But
I'm just
all right.
trying to picture Glenn Serio in front of the US Supreme Court, and this image is not working at all. It just will not.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm not even going to try to picture
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't. It doesn't work, does it? You just can't do
No,
it.
no, it does not. Oh my gosh.
The nearest thing I can get is, you know, the scene from Oliver with the little boy with the bowl. Can I please, sir, can I have some more? And they're all staring down. Is that kind of thing of what the hell is that?
Yeah. Uh-oh. So Dave King is in danger too from Glenn Serio. He's three. Yeah, that's right. He's up in Canada. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's having to behave, isn't he? He's not allowed near the local police or anything because of his probation terms.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I guess he uploaded a video. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw someone comment that he was being very well behaved. And then, how long is
He
that going to
is, but he's been just as sick as always. One of the videos he uploaded was a non-blurred video he took at a car crash, including the victim, who was seriously hurt. They're still alive, but they were seriously hurt, and he just stood there zooming in and showing everything
Oh my
as
gosh.
they're trying to get the poor guy out the car.
He stayed back though, I hope.
He
Even
was the 10 feet or so that you're supposed to, but with a zoom lens on the camera.
Okay, I guess no, not much better. So
No, just a
three
whole
months.
new different level of being sick.
So give him what, 3 months, 6 months, he'll be back to where he was.
I think
Uh,
he's got. I think his probation runs out, if I remember right, beginning of next year. So I think he will behave until then. And then I think he will just explode like he used to, and it'll be all back about sweeping the leg, and all the rest of it will be back. I always thought, though, if Glenn tries to stand on one leg, the other one's just going to shatter from the weight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's he makes me look fit, and that's pretty impressive. um,
Oh, I managed to. I don't think my panel have forgiven me yet because I pointed out that probably when Glenn moves quickly, there's this overwhelming smell of bacon grease from the fat rubbing together. And a lot of our panel likes bacon, and now they can't eat it, and they're still really annoyed with me.
oh my gosh.
But, well,
So
like I said, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
yeah, with all of these horrible visions you're putting in my head, I'm gonna have plenty of time to research this case tonight because I'm not gonna get much sleep.
Well, you should be used to it. You did the whole gaming and fantasy thing. You should be used to horrible visions.
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. 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 But on that high note, thank you again. I appreciate you coming up. And so, well, actually, if you're so it's Friday morning there, you're doing a thing Friday tonight, Friday,
No, we're doing the thing Saturday. Sorry,
doing a thing
it's
Saturday.
tonight we've got off. Yeah.
Okay. And Saturday, what time? Well, you may
I know. 6:30 Eastern.
6:30 Eastern, U.S. time.
Yeah,
Oh, is that where Becca is?
yeah.
Okay. Well, 6:30 Eastern. Okay, I actually will be probably just hanging out in your side chat then. Uh,
Nah, you should come up, talk about comics.
yeah.
We could
Okay.
also we could all do with some breaks from being serious and have fun. Occasionally, we do just throw in a fun show and have a bit of a laugh and talk about things that are not related to people that just make you look at the rest of humanity and think, yeah, we're doomed.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because 6:30 Eastern, that's I think 3:30 here or 2:30 here. So I can certainly, yeah, I will come hang out, and hopefully
Yeah, I
people will.
think 3:30. I think it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
coolness.
because Eastern's 5 behind us, you're 8 behind us. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again,
Oh,
and
you're most welcome.
I will talk to you Saturday.
Okay.
And
See you on Saturday.
okay, thanks. Bye. And thanks to Becca and oh no. Once again, I was bad with the chat, and I'm sorry, Cody. I did not see you there. Hello, you are just here in time for me to. Well, you've been here a while. Sorry, I just noticed you now. I apologize. And well, I hope the folks that were here found that interesting. I appreciate David coming on up, and hey, Dave, you can see that wasn't that scary. Thank thank you, Becca. You too. I will come watch you guys' thing on Saturday. And so anyhow, like I said, I have an early morning tomorrow, and hope you guys that stuck around. Pinned message. What is this pinned message? I'm seeing all kinds of things here on the program that somehow this became a pinned message. I guess it'll be there forever now, Dave. I don't know what I did to make that happen, but it happened. Um, um, so I hope that you guys that hung around found that more interesting than me talking about dragons in my D&D world, which is a heavily adapted version of Mystara. And I'm very disappointed in you guys. You never did tell me whether you would prefer to see Cutie Bunny reviewed or mech things. So I'll have to make a decision. You're forcing me to. Makes me very sad. But yeah, sorry, Cody. I did not notice. As I mentioned, I sometimes have a hard time keeping an eye on everything. Well, I mean sometimes, all the time. So, oh, look. There's Zoe in the background taking a bath. Right there. And as usual, my cats are not very photogenic. I'm going to stop talking now because I can't even pronounce the word photogenic. So, again, I want to thank everybody that came by. Thank you for hanging out. That became a lot more eventful and I hope interesting than I had counted on it being. At least it was very interesting for me. Hope it was interesting for you as well. And if no one else has any more comments or questions or uh-oh, what's this going on here now? I think I am at the bottom of the chat. I'm not entirely sure though. Yes, I am. I'm at the bottom. So if I have everything that everyone has said and there's no one else to say, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you again. I appreciate everyone that came by. And I will be back at some random time. Who knows? But you should go and check out Welsh News Network on Saturday at 3:30 Pacific or 6:30 Eastern. Their broadcasts are always interesting and lots of fun. And I will be there for a chunk of it. If nothing else, just poking around in the side chat, making comments. Now I shall call it a night. I'm going to push the first button. And I'm going to push the second